What's up, everybody? It's Clark here for the BOS Sports Blogcast. Here after what has been a busy week in Atlanta sports, I first want to congratulate Atlanta Hawks guard and forward Dyson Daniels for winning the NBA's Most Improved Player Award. He is the 40th winner of the award, which in the last couple of decades has been a launching pad for numerous NBA superstars, including Tracy McGrady, Jermaine O'Neal, Jalen Rose, Paul George, Jimmy Butler, Giannis Antetokounmpo, and Ja Morant, among others. As well, for the Atlanta Braves, they've now won 4 straight series, although disappointing finishes in Arizona and Colorado. A couple of those games, those losses. For us fans, we would like to have seen a sweep in those series, and it would have put the Braves over 500 if they had won both those games. They had a chance to get to 500, and of course, losing yesterday's game in Colorado versus Rockies, they still took the series as they've now won 4 straight. Instead, they're now 14-16. They are finally above the Nats and the Marlins in the NL East, which is good to not be under them. And they're also 6.5 games behind the division leading Mets, who remain red hot. While the Braves' recent hot streak and the 7-3 nice record in the last 10 games is great, the Braves are about to face a sharp uptick in pitching competition, as well as just overall competition this weekend versus the Dodgers, who I still have number one in my power rankings. Even with Tyler Glass now going down, I still like that pitching staff. Yoshino Yamamoto, who we're seeing Friday night, right now has an ERA just above 1. Stellar numbers we're going to get to in just a minute. Ben Kasparius as well has been a breath of fresh air. Dustin May's having a resurgent season. They have nice bullpen. Of course, the stellar lineup. You know they'll make a move at the deadline as well. They'll probably be the team to beat again this year in the National League, and the Braves are seeing them this weekend, the final series of the year versus the Dodgers, unless they meet in October there at Truist Park. I wish I could go. I got to see the Dodgers last September. In my previous game clip segment that I did, which includes my trip to Philadelphia, I included some game footage from that September game I went to last year versus the Dodgers. Have to go away this weekend, so can't contend that series, unfortunately. Much as I'd like to see the rookie phenom Roki Sasaki as well as Yoshino Yamamoto both pitching there for the Dodgers this weekend. Sunday, Dustin May versus Bryce Elder on ESPN. Sunday Night Baseball. They'll get an exciting game for their prime time, as it will likely be. You never know. Sometimes we expect that, and instead we get the opposite. It's a pitcher's duel. That would be interesting. So in today's episode, going to break down the upcoming schedule for the Atlanta Braves and pitching matchups, including this Dodgers series, a crucial series for the Braves, not so much for the Dodgers, as they're in command of first place in the NL West. As well, I'll be doing a stat roundup of pitching staff. Last week's episode did the hitters, so doing stat roundup pitching staff here at Atlanta Braves. In addition, aforementioned tonight, did I mention that? Having the game segment. Went to April 22nd, Braves Cardinals, and have the pictures, videos, all segmented, lined up for us, ready to view tonight. That'll be replayed in probably about 10 to 20 more episodes, so won't be missed. You'll see it again at some point. So, Braves Dodgers this weekend. Friday night, Yoshinobu Yamamoto, versus Grant Holmes, starting this year with his traditional role with his appearance on March 27th as a reliever. The thinking coaching-wise, an explanation we were given to his fans is that he was going to throw a bullpen anyways ahead of his March 31st start, which was against this very Dodgers team, and that bullpen was not to be thought much of. And Grant Holmes went into that Dodgers game, gave up 4 runs in 4 innings with 4 walks. That bullpen appearance versus the Padres March 27th was scoreless. And the starting pitching, most of his outings for Grant Holmes have been pretty tough. except for versus the Phillies when he made it only 4 innings with 3 hits and 4 walks. He only gave up 1 run in that appearance, but only made it 4 innings. And April the 20th as well, Grant Holmes had a pretty solid day as well, giving up only 1 run in 5 2/3 innings. But he did have 4 hits and 4 walks. And for the back end rotation member, that's pretty stellar for the Atlanta Braves and what we want. If the Braves can get to October with a healthy pitching staff, potentially Grant Holmes can transition back into the bullpen, which might be ideal for him. Especially in a 5-game series. We still have not received a long-term update yet on Reynaldo Lopez. He went under arthroscopic surgery. They said it was a cleanup deal on his right shoulder. Not sure if we're going to see him again this season. It has not been announced that he is out for the rest of the season, although it's pretty dubious returning to season after surgery for pitchers. Chris Sale, going back to Grant Holmes here and looking at this Friday night preview and what he can potentially do to improve those struggles early on for Grant Holmes in the season. Chris Sale, in his interview the other week, stated that getting optimal results is sometimes a product of subtle adjustments, and that could potentially be the case here for Grant Holmes. I have to speculate a little bit about his fastball. It's a little bit different this season, and the movement profile we're seeing as well watching it in games. But otherwise, his other metrics are very positive. A lot of positives to take away. Other than his FIP has increased exponentially. It's way above his xFIP as well. But as far as Grant Holmes, he's getting a different movement profile. He's getting more vertical induced break and less horizontal induced break. And it's finding the barrels, such as Eugenio Suarez, who hit a home run off his fastball. Bottom of the second inning, you saw it drop right into the barrel and exit straight out the ballpark there. Last year, we saw a bit of horizontal induced movement, and hitters are swinging through that a bit more. Grant Holmes' breaking pitches have all had much higher success rates in this year compared to last season, but his fastball is getting hit, and change in induced movement might be key to his struggles. Grant Holmes' opponent's batting average on his slider and curveball are down this year at 132 and 133. He's throwing his changeup a bit more than he did last season, and it's getting clobbered by his cutter. Even less often thrown pitch is getting hit pretty well as hard as well. His changeup, the spin rate is down over 20%, pretty concerning, nearly 20%, excuse me. As well as the velo is down in about mile per hour as well. Currently getting clobbered at a 1.0 slugging clip, and with a 500 batting average from opponents off of Grant Holmes' changeup. Very seldom thrown pitch for him, but it was a pitch he used last year to keep batters honest at times. He only threw it around a dozen times. So not very often thrown pitch for Grant Holmes. But if he could find that pitch, it might be a weapon for him to keep batters honest every now and then. On the other side, towing the rubber for the Dodgers, Yoshinobu Yamamoto is living up to the hype coming over from Japan here in his sophomore season. With his record-setting contract signed with the Dodgers, he's a way too early favorite here for Cy Young. After just 1 month, he has a 1.06 ERA with 43 strikeouts and 34 innings pitched, and a walk hits per inning of 1. He features a 6-pitch mix. Sometimes breaks out a sweeper every now and then. Not sure. With the other pitches and Yamamoto's repertoire being the fastball, splitter being his main weapons, and hitters appear to have been attacking him this season, praying that he throws something other than those 2 pitches, as batters are hitting well below the Mendoza line on Yoshinobu Yamamoto's fastball and splitter. while batters are hitting over 300 on his curveball and hitting 250 on his sinker as well as other two most thrown pitches in a 6-pitch mix. The Braves' struggles with 12-6 break over the course of about last year or so have been well documented, and this will be a challenge and a benchmark Friday night for the Braves for the season 5 weeks in. How much has the Atlanta Braves and this team improved since that 0-7 start begin the year? Saturday night is Spencer Schwellenbach versus Roki Sasaki. Spencer Schwellenbach, 20 innings, a 1-run ball versus the Marlins, Padres, and Phillies to start the season. It's been huge for Spencer Schwellenbach, keeping his ERA down. As his last 3 starts, he's given up 11 runs, including 6 to the Blue Jays, the big doozy, who have been in a cold spell since then. The Blue Jays are in a tailspin, and unfortunately, the Braves caught them at a bad time, losing that series to them. Going back to Spencer Schwellenbach, his usage percentage on a sinker is up 5.3% from last season. One of his more seldomly used pitches. He's been using it considerable amount more this season. Perhaps one of the strategies for pacing himself. His first full season as a big leaguer, of course, he came up all the way from from Double-A ball last season with the Braves. And now he's in his first full season in the majors, of course, starting in the minors last season. Opponent's batting average has been across the board on Spencer Schwellenbach's fastball and curveball, a couple of his main pitches. The split is well below the Mendoza line. We're seeing 2 pitchers in Spencer Schwellenbach and Yoshinobu Yamamoto with 2 of the top splitters in the league. Last year, opponent's batting average on Spencer Schwellenbach's splitter this year is a 114 average compared to 225 last season. Roki Sasaki, Saturday night. Roki Sasaki has a huge splitter as well, so he's still seeing 2 of the top splitters in the league. It's just Roki Sasaki instead of Yoshinobu Yamamoto Saturday night versus Spencer Schwellenbach. Correction just a moment ago. So Roki Sasaki in his rookie year has not pitched a scoreless game yet in the big leagues. Hopefully the Braves are not the first one, although I could see it going that way. With our sometimes offensive struggles this year. Detroit, Cubs, Phillies, he all pitched less than 5 innings against Roki Sasaki, getting through only 1.2 innings versus the Tigers, with 3 hits, 4 walks, and 2 runs. In less than 2 innings, he had to be pulled there. I believe that was his 3rd start of the year. His last appearance, though, versus the Pirates, he gave up 5 hits, 2 walks, 3 runs, and a homer. Had only 4 strikeouts, but did go further into the game. He still overall has a solid 3.55 ERA in 6 starts with 21.1 innings, with 20 strikeouts. And who knows, with a late season run by Roki Sasaki, he could still win Rookie of the Year as a marquee player there on the Dodgers. It's been well documented that Sasaki's struggles early on have stemmed from his lack of pitch variety, having the 3-pitch mix. Starting pitchers today's game seem to need at least 4, unless they have just some kind of stellar. We will go into Roki Sasaki does have 2 fastballs. I'm not sure if that's entirely intentional. We'll get to that in a second. He does have some variations on those 3 pitches. As well, Sasaki, along with Schwellenbach, in his first season as an MLB player, might be trying to pace himself. And aforementioned, we see 2 different versions of Roki Sasaki's fastball. He throws one in the upper high 90s with a high amount of induced movement, horizontal induced movement that is, lighting up his baseball savant page in that metric. And he has another fastball, which is more of a get-me-over pitch. I'm not sure if it's a mechanical hiccup or something like that, mechanical if it's intentional or not. That would be an interesting question to ask Roki Sasaki, as he also has one that sits more mid-90s, mid to like 94-ish, such as one he threw against Kyle Higashioka April 19th, which was around 94 miles an hour, and translated into a 2-run home run as well. It did not have much movement, vertical or horizontal. It's very flat. Hate to say it, is very Ian Anderson-like fastball from Roki Sasaki. And that pitch to Kyle Higashioka on April 19th. So 2 different fastballs we've seen from Roki Sasaki this season. Wonder if the one that's not as good is intentional. I think it's maybe more of a get me over pitch, and possibly is intentional, as he looks to stay healthy through his rookie season as he builds up to what is hopefully a long and successful career for Roki Sasaki. We see, except when he plays the Braves, of course, we see in Roki Sasaki's other 2 of his 3 pitches are the slider and splitter, and they've been mostly unhittable, with averages 148 on the split, slugging percentage of 185, and on the slider a 111 average, and slug a 111 the same. For Braves hitters versus Sasaki, it would make sense for him to sit on his fastball and go for a slider and split, try to foul them off maybe in 2 strike counts. So on to Sunday's matchup, aforementioned Sunday Night Baseball, ESPN, Bryce Elder versus Dustin May. Watch this be a pitcher's duel. It will surprise everybody. Maybe not. So Dustin May, he's returning. He had a torn esophagus last season, a freak injury after dining out. He had to have an emergency surgery, missed the whole rest of last season, but he was still somewhat crucial part of that World Series run, getting them some innings before he went down to that injury. So he's still got a ring and all that, and he's coming back. It's good since he previously came back from Tommy John and flexor tendon surgery so glad he's back, doing well. 3.95 ERA so far this season in 5 games, pretty solid. 27.1 innings pitched, 22 strikeouts. His fastball velo isn't what it used to be prior to his 2 surgeries, performance-based. He used to throw, of course, in the upper 90s, nickname Ginger Guard. Instead, he's now succeeding with weak contact and ground balls, getting efficient outs, which is very helpful for the Dodgers in their quest to save their pitching for October. And a lot of that is coming off his fastball, which has increased horizontal and vertical induced movement, something we've been talking a lot about as we've been looking at pitching this episode, the opposite of what Grant Holmes did from this season. And it's interesting to note differentials in success and trend to look out for as we look at different pitchers' successes and how their fastballs break from induced movement. Wonder if there's an overall theme in Major League Baseball 25 that horizontal induced movement in fastballs has been more effective versus hitters than vertically induced movement. That'd be an interesting thing to potentially research and look up. Maybe one day. I'll have more time July, be doing more episodes, more weekly episodes. Of course, we used to have those episode after every Hawks game. Pretty busy in this season. A lot of saxophone-related activities. But getting in the BOS Sports Blogcast in here. So back to the preview here, Sunday night. Dustin May, he has a 3-pitch mix. With fastball, sinker, sweeper being the main ones, a main 3-pitch mix with cutter and changeup every now and then. So a 5-pitch mix with each of them being his main pitches. Like this matchup for the Braves, with Bryce Elder on the mound, there should be a lot of offense. So the Braves are going to have to score a lot, as the Dodgers probably will as well. Dodgers pitchers Yoshinobu Yamamoto and Roki Sasaki will likely be formidable foes for the Braves Friday and Saturday night when they face them, but I look for him to have a bit of an easier time with Dustin May, as he's been pitching to contact And the Braves tend to have good success against contact pitchers. We can tend to give problems to elite contact pitchers. It's the high velo guys that have given us struggles, such as we saw from that guy, that reliever from the Rockies yesterday. I can't remember his name off the hand. So the Braves then, after the Dodgers, coming up next week, face the 17-15 second place National League Central Reds, who just won today 9-1 over the Cardinals, with Andrew Abbott pitching 4 innings, a 1-run ball with 4 walks. A bit puzzling after striking out 11 April 18th, Abbott has struggled in his last 2 outings. The Rockies and Cardinals only threw 74 pitches today, although today he did not struggle in the run department. He just did not get through much of the game. And versus the Rockies, he really struggled, giving up several runs. Something to keep an eye on, as he'll likely be Tuesday's pitcher. The Braves keep their rotation the same, would likely be Chris Sale. Hopefully, we haven't gotten a word on AJ Smith-Shawver as well. I guess there's nothing worse wrong, so we can expect him to start Monday. But that's not how things always work out with the Atlanta Braves. Sometimes there's some finagling, there's some late announcements on injuries. We'll find out Monday morning that he's out for the rest of the season or something terrible. So that's how it goes for us Braves fans, or at least how it has over the last year or so with all the injuries. Oh. So Monday, the Braves will face Brady Singer versus the Reds. He threw 6 innings, a 1-run ball, and lost to the Cardinals last night. Nice performance by Brady Singer, although it was squandered by the Reds with lack of run support. Brady Singer, he features a 5-pitch mix, with sinker slider being his most used pitches. So in 3 of 4 games, the Braves will be seeing some very nice sinkers between Roki Sasaki, Brady Singer, and Yoshinobu Yamamoto Friday night. Back to Brady Singer's slider and sinker are his most used pitches aforementioned, pitching them at a 74% clip with a fastball and an occasional sweeper that he might be working on or using as a Euphoes pitch. So Wednesday and Thursday, the Braves will likely face Hunter Green, Nick Lodolo, both having very strong starts to their season. Just mentioned a minute ago, the Braves been struggling versus high velo, and Nick Green maxed up those 2 names. Hunter Green has been throwing lights out, hot cheese this year, throwing over 99 miles an hour, and he has a nice ERA, a 2.7 to go with that. Nick Lodolo, 2.25 ERA, as he's having somewhat of a breakout year for him. The top end of the Reds' rotation really has no holes. A big part of why they're 2 games over 500, and their offense is getting some confidence now. Be interesting if they keep this run going. Hopefully not next week. Hopefully the Braves absolutely squash them. So both Hunter Green and Nick Lodolo are both starting this weekend for the Reds, making it must-watch baseball for Atlanta Braves hitters, as well as any fans looking for insights on how our upcoming opposition next week pitch. And starting with Hunter Green, aforementioned, he's been throwing some hot cheese this season. Uptick this season in his velo in the 99th percentile, throwing an average of over 99 mile per hour with rate of 23% on his fastball. Opponent's batting average is slim 207 with 23 strikeouts, 23 of his 41 strikeouts on the year from the fastball. For the Reds' power arm, Hunter Green. Likely see him Wednesday. Maybe Thursday if things get shooken up a little bit with the Reds' rotation. We've been seeing players getting called up in different organizations around. As well, we saw Brady Singer only go 4 innings today. So he features Nick Lodolo. We'll probably see him Thursday. And after 3 seasons, he's mainly figured it out with a 2.25 ERA this season, with scoreless performances versus the Brewers and Giants early on when the Giants were hot. Second time he faced them, the Giants got him for 2 runs, 5 hits, no walks, but also no strikeouts. a bit of an odd performance. As well, 7 innings, a 2-hit ball at Coors Field with 9 Ks. His last appearance, April 27th. He features Nick Lodolo, features a 4-pitch mix with a 93 fastball that sits around 93 miles per hour. Curveball, changeup, sinker. His command has been excellent this season, in the 93rd percentile of walk rate this season. Opponents are hitting over 300 on a sinker this year, which he uses 21.5% of the time. He mixes up his pitches fairly evenly, does Nick Lodolo, and he uses that sinker, which has been getting mashed pretty frequently, with 94 pitches so far this season of sinkers. Curveball and changeup well below the Mendoza line for Nick Lodolo, something you'd expect as someone with an ERA of 2.25. Aforementioned early in this episode, Braves been struggling since 2023. Since the end of the 2023 regular season, Braves have been struggling overall with 12-6 rate, and will be tested again when they face Nick Lodolo next week, as he has elite curveball and change. So next weekend, and for the Braves facing Nick Lodolo and Hunter Green, we're likely going to see Schwellenbach and Holmes, as Chris Sale likely lines up for Tuesday. Never know, could see a call up, but with the AJ Smith-Shawver situation, don't see them calling up somebody unless it's to replace him at this point in the season. Hopefully that does not happen, but after taking that wicked batted ball off his arm, I would hope for them to err on the side of caution. Skip a start or so, let the bruising cycle out and all that before he comes back. Ian Anderson, he cleared waivers today for the Braves, as announced by MLB Mark Bowman, beat writer. So he's an option as well. Scott Blewett, who's in the upcoming segment here, upcoming just a second. My visit to Truist Park, April 22nd. Scott Blewett was opener, and he didn't pitch very well in that game overall. I mean, he held his own, but he's been more effective as a one-inning reliever in his last 2 appearances at least. So, other options other than Ian Anderson, not sure what the Braves could potentially go with. I have to look at the minor leagues and see how things are going. How's Hurston Waldrop doing? I haven't checked on that recently. I have to get on it. We'll get those updates and more by next episode. I've been having to go out of town a lot last couple weeks, so a little bit slim here. Just talking here about a bunch of pitching today. And we have this upcoming segment, 22nd. So looking ahead, after next week's episode, the Braves will be facing the Pirates. We'll have a lot more information on that pitching matchup in the next episode. What a blast. So now I'm going to transition to my visit to Truist Park, April 22nd. And I have some great pictures, videos, and commentary on the game. And the segment is not to be missed. And you won't miss it because I'll probably re-air it in several upcoming episodes. What a blast going to MLB game in nice weather. The Heat I don't intend to enjoy going it very much, to be honest. But I'll be brave and make it through the Heat for some portion of the All-Star festivities this summer. So, before I read the closing line, let's take a look at this segment here. So here we go. Braves Cardinals, April 22nd at Truist Park. Here's Scott Blewett versus Nolan Gorman. Top the first inning. Gorman, of course, had the key hit in the 8th. First pitch, foul, 84.7 mile per hour slider. Despite his potentially comical name, Scott Blewett has been solid for the Braves in his 3 appearances so far. His last 2 have been scoreless versus the Rockies and Diamondbacks, combined 2.1 innings. Here comes the 0-1 pitch. Fouled, coming straight back at me. Ooh, landed right below me there. Thought I had a chance. I'm pretty high up there, so. And that has 84.1 mile per hour splitter. Scott Blewett has Nolan Gorman down the count early here. This would be the only game where Scott Blewett has allowed runs so far for the Braves in his 3 appearances. Here's the 0-2 pitch. Ball. 93.8 mile per hour fastball. We now have 1 ball and 2 strikes. Blewett went 3 innings, allowed 4 hits in this game, 2 runs, 2 walks. This is the only strikeout here. 1-2 pitch. Another ball, high and tight, looked like. 94 mile per hour fastball. 2-2. The count is now even. Nolan Gorman, aforementioned, 3-run RBI single, top of the 8th, break the game open. Ugh. Tough for us Braves fans that game. 2-2 pitch. Ball. 85.4 mile per hour splitter. We now have a full count of 3-2. Cardinals would score 6 in the last 2 tops of the innings on their way to the 10-4 victory. It was not a fun game. I booed pretty loud. 3-2 pitch, swinging strike, 84.3 miles per hour. That was booing. All those runs came across the plate. I booed as loud as possible. I booed for 10 people, if that is possible. So it was a great night otherwise. Always the best 2 times of the year to go to Truist Park, or in the spring early and in October when it's cool, nice temperature for drinking beverages. In the 60s, 70s kind of temperatures there. It got a little bit rainy. I don't mind. I like a little bit of drizzle. And here we get some Braves batting average. Braves batting action. Here's Jared Kelenic at the plate versus Andre Palante. Bottom of the 2nd inning. First pitch, swinging strike. We have Orlando Arcia there on deck. And here comes 0-1 pitch. Might have been the 0-2 pitch. It looked like a ball in dirt there. 1-2 count. 87.3 mile per hour slider. Palante gave up all the runs for the Cardinals that day, as Cardinals bullpen was scoreless and Palante gave up the 4 runs. Here's the 1-2 pitch. Foul ball. 94.2 mile per hour fastball. Jared Kelenic, he was just sent down to AAA today. Tough news for Jared Kelenic. 1-2 pitch, another ball. Got an even count on a 76 mile per hour knuckle curve. Beat writer Gabe Burns was quoted as saying in an interview from Jared Kelenic that he was in high spirits and looking at it as an opportunity. So hopefully that's a positive thing. Hopefully he comes back strong. The Braves will need outfielders in the second half. They'll need position players, even with Ronald Acuna Jr. coming back. Can't wait till that happens. And so here is now the 3-2 pitch. Full count. Foul ball, high and tight. 95.4 mile per hour fastball. Tough news with Jared Kelenic being sent down to AAA. Aforementioned, hopefully he comes back strong. Andre Palante and Orlando Arcia, he's there in the batter's box. So Kelenic, he would, on a 3-2 pitch, ground out. I wanted to mention Arcia is standing quite a far ways outside of that on-deck circle. It's something I noticed all game. The Braves hitters were a little bit further out than I've seen them before. They seemed to do that a little bit more situationally, but this game, they were often out there. So it was a nice game otherwise, other than the blown lead. Don't remind me. The one game I get to go to in the April. And so I got the general admissions ticket. I like to move around whenever I get that. A few different upper deck sections. I got to check out the outfield, get some pictures there. Don't like to get on my phone too much, but I got a little bit of pictures and video. And so here we have an Austin Riley at bat. Alex Verdugo just doubled and got on base. And Austin Riley's about to drive him in here. which allows Alex Verdugo to get the third base. Full count. Here we go. Austin Riley up the middle. Single scoring. Verdugo. Braves up. At that point. Getting the Braves a 3-2 lead. Would not be the last run that Andre Palante gave up on the day. Unfortunately, did not get either of the home runs. That kind of stunk. Can't take a video of the whole game. Have to sit there and enjoy it. So here, 23 Braves division titles. Can they win another one this year? The Mets, they have quite a way to catch up the Mets. Of course, the Phillies are in, but the Mets are having some drama up there with one of their players they signed off season. So, not every... So while that was rolling, I went ahead and checked in on our options there at the minor league for starting pitching. Hurston Waldrop and Dylan Dodd, ERAs over 7. Not looking like options. Zach Thompson, he's struggling as well. Nathan Wiles, he was in that April 22nd game and gave up several runs in the late innings. Terrible. As well, he's got great numbers there in AAA, but with those runs given up in his April 22nd appearance, his ERA is 27 in the major leagues, so probably not an option to start a baseball game, at least getting many innings, maybe as an opener. Craig Kimbrell is down there in the minor leagues. He's got an ERA just above 2, so it's looking like he might come back and potentially be a factor for the Braves out of the bullpen. It'll be interesting to see what they do throwing together the rotation. Today is May 1st. I believe just last season, the Marlins traded Luis Arias around May 4th. That might have been May 6th. May 4th, one of those days. Around there. Braves need to be on the phone right now with the Marlins, trying to get one of their pitchers, as they made a trade last year around this time with one of their top talent on their team. So don't tell me it's not possible, because it happened last year around this time. All right, so before we head out, let's take a look at the Braves pitching stats so far this season. In the past week, we've seen 2 familiar faces come and go for Land Braves, with Jesse Chavez during the Braves. He's been DFA'd and is elected free agency, while Ian Anderson, he was DFA'd by the Angels. The Braves claimed him. He's on the roster for the day. He was DFA'd, cleared waivers. He's going to report to AAA Gwinnett. So Chris Sale, who pitched Wednesday, had a nice game. His ERA is now a 4.84 after 7 games, with 1 win, 7 losses, and 3 losses. Should have been 2 wins yesterday. But unfortunately, the Braves couldn't give him any run support. He's already thrown 35 innings. He already has 46 strikeouts. Racking up the strikeouts on the way in 7 games. Could he get to 200? That would be, if you would extrapolate these numbers, that's 29 starts to get to 200 strikeouts again for Chris Sale. Hopefully. Opponent's batting average so far this season, Chris Sale, 285. Spencer Schwellenbach, aforementioned, he had the hot start to the year. Padres, Marlins, Phillies, those 20 combined innings with just 1 run, and has been struggling since then. His ERA is now 2.876 games. He currently has 33 strikeouts, walks, hits per inning, a 0.98. Opponent's batting average, 220. Grant Holmes, so far, 6 games started, 4.5 ERA, 28 innings so far, 26 strikeouts. AJ Smith-Shawver, hope he's okay and comes back strong as Monday start. If not, a short stint, brief rest away from the start, as I've aforementioned early in the podcast. Get a little rest, let the bruise cycle out. Might be a good idea for AJ, pushing back a week or so. But Braves, after with all those struggles in AAA, no clear options in sight from the starting pitching department. AJ on the year, 4.26 ERA, 22 strikeouts. He's been solid despite his 1.68 whip and 303 average. Bryce Elder, 5 games so far, 5.32 ERA, 16 strikeouts, opponent's batting average, 267. Aaron Bummer, so far in 10 games, has a 4.76 ERA, been struggling a bit. Opponent's batting average of a 244, 14 strikeouts. The Braves still seek a high leverage option from the left side. Aniel De Los Santos, 4.73 ERA. Pierce Johnson, 3.18 ERA so far. Walks hits per inning, 1.06. Opponent batting average for Pierce Johnson, 200. Raisel Iglesias, he struggled some this year. 5.73 ERA in his contract season. He's looking for that uptick. 10 games so far, 238 average, 10 strikeouts. Dylan Lee, 2.19 ERA. He's been stellar from the left side. Potentially high leverage option, as we'll probably see him in more high leverage spots going on with these nice numbers. Opponent's batting average over 143. Daysbel Hernandez, he's got an ERA of 2. 9 strikeouts so far. A whip of 0.9. Opponent's batting average of 140. We'll probably see him in more high leverage situations going forward. We've seen trending. Rafael Montero, who fortunately gave up some of those runs from my segment earlier. 4.26 ERA. Opponent's batting average of 2.08, but with walks hits per inning of a 2.05. 8 walks already in just 6.1 innings for Rafael Montero. Some struggles with the command. Spencer Strider, of course, he came back for the one game and went on IL with a hamstring. Hopefully we'll get a positive update about him as well soon. 3.6 ERA in his one game with 5 strikeouts. Opponent's batting average 263, 1.2. I made the comparison of him to Dylan Cease in that start. I felt like he's about as effective as Dylan Cease in his return, which is a positive sign for the Braves that UCL Braves has been a winner. We see DeGrom, Drew Rasmussen, other players who've had the Braves, along with Spencer Strider, all pitching well this season so far. So Jose Suarez, I believe he's back in the minor leagues for the Braves. He pitched in 3 games with 2.45 ERA, 1.136 average. We might see him back up with the club at some point soon. Scott Blewett, aforementioned, he struggled in that Cardinals game. We had the segment on, but overall he's been fairly strong. He's as well with other clubs earlier in the season, but with just the Braves so far in 3 games, he has a 3.38 ERA, opponent's batting average of 250, and walks hits per inning of 1.5. Jesse Chavez, he got 2 games in with the Braves so far this season. He's already off the squad again. ERA of 6 with 2 earned runs. Zach Thompson, he's back in the minor leagues at this point, but he had 2 strong scoreless appearances for the Braves with the walks hits per inning of 0.27, opponent's batting average of 0, no hits. We might see him back up. Davis Daniel, I believe he's back in the minor leagues as well. Cycling up these arms, getting them fresh. I think we'll see this happen a bit more. Aforementioned, like after that wicked foul ball, I like if AJ has any kind of harsh bruising going on, just scares me for arm health wise. Having pitching, might see a couple of these arms come up Monday and do some kind of bullpen situation versus the Reds. Davis Daniel hasn't given up a hit in one game, one inning pitch with a strikeout and a walk. Reynaldo Lopez, aforementioned, we still haven't gotten status after he got arthroscopic surgery. Hector Neris no longer with the team. Nathan Wiles down to AAA after giving up those 3 earned runs in the game I went to. Boo! That's what I said when he did that. So, normally in BOS Sports Blogcast, have NBA segment, Hawks information, Celtics information. Aforementioned, I've been working a lot of saxophone recently, so not a whole bunch of time for Blogcast activities. No significant big Hawks or Celtics segment this week. Next week, dive back into Hawks and Celtics. The Celtics just advanced. They beat the Magic in 5 games. They took care of business after the Magic took the Cleveland Cavaliers to 7 games last year. The Celtics, without Drew Holiday for most of it, took out the Magic in 5 games as well. The Magic, they were without Jalen Suggs and the one player's brother that's on Franz, the other Wagner. I'm not sure if they're related. Made that mistake earlier with one of the draftees, JT Toppin out of Texas Tech. Or is it JP or JP? He's not related to Obi Toppin in the league, so gotta be careful with those names and these athletes. They're not always related. So as well for the Atlanta Hawks, they have a 96% chance realizing the Kings' first-round draft pick, of course, protected between selections 1 through 12. NBA mock draft is May 12th, and we're just 2 weeks away from BOS Blogcast Monster NBA Draft episode, as that'll happen after the draft lottery on the 12th. In 2 weeks, that episode for the BOS Sports will be May 15th. Next week, we'll cover more Braves, some Celtics. I'll try to fit in a little bit of Hawks info, but looks like most of the Hawks content is going to come in May 15th episode after NBA Draft Lottery. Again, congrats to Dyson Daniels on getting the NBA's Most Improved Player Award. Hopefully he continues trajectory and becomes a superstar himself. That, of course, will be expensive for Atlanta Hawks as he becomes extended. I believe he's contracted for next year, and the Hawks will probably have to use bird rights at some point to get a contract extension done on Dyson Daniels. Make sure I didn't miss anything. If the Hawks secure the Kings draft pick, they'll, of course, have 2 first-round draft picks in a 2025 NBA draft that's loaded with front court players such as JT Toppin, who's projected to go in the 20s, and he's a stellar impact player who would likely have an impact in front court on any team he joins. So a lot of depth there in the front court this draft. Having 2 first-round draft picks for Atlanta Hawks, along with potentials with the NBA salary exception, trade salary exceptions. They have 2 between DeJounte Murray, just over $25 million expiring July 7th. And the one that was just created with Bogdanovich, that's for not as much. And so some potentials for there. They cannot be combined. One player already under contract, mentioned in previous podcasts, would be very interesting for the Hawks, would be Colin Sexton. It is the last year of his deal. And so that would be a little bit of a gamble, giving up for 1 year of control of Colin Sexton. But fit-wise as well, I don't like as much as Josh Giddey would potentially be. And that would have to be worked out in a sign and trade, as the Hawks will not have room. They're projected already to be over the salary cap. And there's no way they're going to get under it enough to sign Josh Giddey outright. They'll have to do a sign and trade in which they could use the DeJounte Murray trade exception, and that contract would have to be backloaded. It'd have to be a 5 or 10% deal to get the value down the first year. He's projected by ESPN's Brian Windhorst, signed contract around $30 million. So DeJounte Murray's trade exception being just a little bit over $25 million. It's going to have to be somewhat of a team-friendly deal to get that done. So fairly dubious suggestion, but it would be a great fit to pair Josh Giddey with Dyson Daniels, Trae Young, Zachary Richer, Jalen Johnson, potential draft of Noah Sengay, Cayman Mullet kind of players, Colin Murray Boyles, Ryan Kalkbrenner. That would be an absolutely loaded squad. And they could still sign a player to the mid-level exception on top of that. Get a player potentially like Santi Aldama, if he falls within that salary range. Be another nice add in the front court. So, be sure to stream previous episodes of BOS Sports Podcast. I talk about all those topics and more in those episodes. Be sure to subscribe and follow social media posts on X as give updates. Next episode will be May 8th. A little bit more Braves Hawks. And then the giant NBA draft episode May 15th for the Hawks. May 8th will be mostly Braves and Celtics, as Celtics are still playing. Enjoy the Celtics. Hard not to like them. Jaylen Brown from the Atlanta area, from Marietta or so. As well, very likable team overall. Even though as franchise, I was more of a Lakers guy before the big three: Paul Pierce, Kevin Garnett, Ray Allen, the original big three with the Celtics. That was a fun team as well. I like them as well. But 80s, I was more of a Lakers guy. So anyways, stream previous episodes of the BOS Sports Blogcast. Stream music of Bar Soap on Spotify. And we'll see you May 8th.